So if you just take a moment and just as you're sitting here, just completely relax your attention. Like you don't have to look for anything in particular, focus on anything in particular. And as you relax this thing we call attention, focus of attention on particular objects, and you just relax that attention, you may suddenly feel the sense of knowing, of just perceiving. And as you feel that sense of just perceiving, of we could call that awareness, but just perceiving, just knowing, feel also the way in which that sense of knowing that's just here, wide open, unbounded, is the same as being, really. The knowing and the being. Right? And as you feel that sense of the knowing is being and the being is knowing, notice there's no past. Doesn't exist. It's just here, now, being. Simple, isn't it? Absolutely no past, no history. You could try as hard as you could try, possibly try, and you can't find what was an instant ago, what we can conceive of as happening. Like here's this moment and now it's gone, right? So it's in the past, but how do you, it's not here, is it? It's not. This being, knowing, is outside of time. No past, no future. Feel that. It's so outside of time that if you feel it as now, this instant, right? Not what was, not what might be, but this instant, now, you can also sense how entirely ungraspable now is, right? How immediately now is gone, right? It's here for, you could say, no time. But there's a sense simultaneously of the relentlessness of now, right? Like now never disappears. All there is now. It never goes away, right? And yet simultaneously it's ungraspable, just gone, gone, gone. Outside of time. No past, no future. Just now, but a now that can't be found either. This has no duration. So let it be simple, just what you're feeling right now. You're always feeling this, actually. You're never feeling the past. You're never feeling the future. And you're never feeling something that has continuity. We might say that it feels like an unfolding, like a dynamism, like a movement, this now. But it doesn't really go anywhere. It's always right now, isn't it? So it's unfolding, but not into some future. It's unfolding now. So it's very strange. It's like it's constantly becoming, but it never gets to the future. It's always right here, right now. Feel the simplicity of that, just being here, effortless, outside of time, outside of history, outside of future. There's really no story in this immediacy, in this flash with no duration, this now, this pinpoint of the instant. There is no story of you, no history, no story of reality, no story of anything. And yet, at the same time, this being here now, this appears as all the stories and as the flow of time and as our lives and our histories and our identities, right? This is very paradoxical. But if you just feel the instant that you are feeling, notice how there's no narrative there, right? There's no time for the narrative to take shape, right? It's free of everything. It's free. It's pure freedom. Freedom from all identity, all narrative, all story, all lack associated with the story of us, all what I didn't get, what I wished I'd gotten, what I hope I might get. It allows for all of that, but itself, this being here is just here, free of all of that at the same time. It's that being that's just here now, no history, no future, is life. It is the aliveness. It is the actuality, right? It's actually here. It's not an idea of something that was or what might be, which is an abstraction. The idea is something that can appear now. It can appear in the instant, in that sense, is an actuality. Our ideas, our thoughts are actualities. But what the ideas and the thoughts are about, seemingly, is fantasy. Not that it doesn't have its own kind of reality, in a sense, that we experience, like as our histories, right? And our knowledge of things and other people, right? That's all there. But feel the way in which this timelessness of right now, ever vanishing moment, is free of all story, of all history, of all thought. You see, we don't have to stop thinking to go beyond the seeming limitations of thought and concepts. It doesn't matter whether thought is present right now. And you just feel the immediacy of being, the simplicity of being, of knowing. It's absolutely free of thought, isn't it? Even as it simultaneously may be shining forth as thinking, you see. And this recognition of this simplicity of this being now, this feeling of this instant outside of time, doesn't require sitting on a cushion with your eyes closed. It's always available as a perspective that we can play with, that we can explore, that we can let ourselves be nourished by, and feel its extraordinary, wondrous, miraculous, magical, mysterious, right? I mean, you can't explain this outside of time, but here it is. No time. Pure freedom. There's nothing here. In this immediacy, nothing endures, and so there aren't any obstacles to overcome or limitations to overcome or identities to transcend or conceptual frameworks to see through, or not, like none of that can be found in this timeless, ever liquefying instant. It's incredible to feel this ungraspable moment, right? It's just gone. It's, in a sense, it's never really even here because it's becoming, we could say, something else. As it seems to become something, it's becoming something else. That's how quick its transformation is. And in that sense, it's not a thing at all. There's not a thing there, right? Because that brings time in, something to take form and then become something. That's all time. But in the flash moment with no history, no future, just now, there's no form. There's no time for that. There's no birth and no death. It's beyond all of that, without excluding any of that at the same time. Because that's the wild thing, is that out of this pointless point of no time, of no duration, of instantaneous now, this point, it's infinitesimally small, springs forth somehow magically and mysteriously the world of form. How do you explain that? How is there even any experience here? My friend Peter Brown used to talk about what he called radiant presence, which was his way of describing reality in simple but very beautiful, evocative, I think, way of, there's just this presence of what is, and the presence of what is shows up as this magical display. That's its radiance, its creativity, right? All this stuff, right? But he would sometimes talk about how if you look, the more you investigate the radiant presence, the more you realize you can't find the presence or the radiance either. Because you can't find anything. But it looks like there's all this stuff, and it feels like there's all this stuff, and there is all this stuff. So it's, again, that sounds very contradictory, but here it is. And it's here. I'm working on I may have mentioned I'm working on some new writing, and I have the working title of the book is I'm trying to find it here. What is the working title of the book? The working title of the book is exactly what I was just attempting to describe, which is beyond description. But the working title is Empty but Shining Brightly. That's the, can't find it because it's here for no time. This moment is here for no time. And yet here is the world, what we call the world, what we call our life, shining brightly as everything, as your normal everyday life. Can't be found, and yet here it is, empty but shining brightly. That's the title. And then the subtitle is Exploring the Rainbow of Experience. We can certainly think about what I'm talking about, but feel what I'm talking about. See that you are feeling what you're always feeling the instant. There isn't anything else to feel, right? It's not conceptual. You're feeling this instant, and you're feeling, as you feel the instant, you're feeling the way in which it has no endurance, it has no continuity. You're feeling that. It's non-conceptual. You don't have to think about it. Even though I'm using a lot of words. It's very simple. But notice in the feeling of this simplicity of this being that's just here, this instant being, that there's no time for identity to take shape, no time for the story of you and your life and your trials and your tribulations and your hopes and your fears. And none of that is there. And yet none of that is rejected either. You see? Nothing's rejected. The being here rejects nothing. In fact, everything is its display. The display of here. This is always here. Your thoughts are here, your feelings are here, your sensations are here, your life is here, your challenges are here, your triumphs are here, everything is here. And yet at the same time, here transcends everything, is entirely beyond all ways of conceiving this and framing this and seeing this. And you know, our ordinary experience of seeing the forms, both external forms, we think of external to us, and internal forms of our subjective experience, they seem to be something identifiable, don't they? Like they look like something, like you look like something, and your experience tastes like something, right? But reality itself doesn't, there's no way to characterize what it tastes like, right? It can't be determined what it is, how it is, why it is. It just is. And it's a miracle. And I'm talking about it as an it, that it's like third person or something, that it's first person. You are it. You are it. Right? You are the miracle of existence, of being here. You're not noticing being here. You are being here. You are this timeless wonder, this transcendental wonder.